Hey, what's going on, baseball fans? This episode of the Going Yard podcast is brought to you by the Rope Bat at theropebat.com. It is the answer for those who are serious about the game by teaching a swing that maximizes centrifugal force and total body connected movement. The result is greater speed, strength, and consistency for the hitter. Just go to theropebat.com and enter the promo code GYP10 for 10% off of your entire purchase at checkout.
I'm telling you, go check it out. You won't be disappointed in the quality and the instruction and the automatic feedback that you get on almost every swing you take. Your players and coaches alike can benefit from using this product at every training session they take, whether it's pregame, at practice, whenever, because the bat will not disappoint.
That's right, and then you can use this tool for to get better at your swing when you're swinging the bats that this guy makes. Coming up on this interview here, we got Trevor Oakes from ABO Baseball. He talks about his story. He talks about how he started in the bat making world, where his goals are for the next 3 to 5 years, and he really just breaks it down for us from start to finish how to make a bat, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean everything you want to know about a custom bat, he talks about weight. Barrel, knob, color schemes, anything you want to know, the type of wood that he uses, all of those things are included in this podcast interview. So make sure you pay attention to the details of what he's talking about, because it's kind of important if you're interested and in the market for a custom bat. That's
right. So check out this episode of the Going Yard podcast. We will talk to you after the show. Hey, Trevor, thanks for coming on, man.
Hey, good to be here, man. Glad to be part of the show.
Yep,
I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, glad we got you on there, and we look forward to asking you some questions here. First, actually, Tyler, make sure he can hear you there.
Yeah, how are you doing, Trevors? It's been a while. We've been looking forward to talking to you, and I know we had a little mishap kind of with your schedule yesterday. Not really a mishap that was a problem, but you got to play some lovely baseball yesterday. How'd that go?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, I honestly, when we scheduled it, I don't know what I was thinking. I thought I picked Mondays, and apparently picked Sunday, and yeah, but it all worked out. It was a nice, beauty day yesterday. It was a good day for baseball, so yeah, we got to throw down a couple of games of that, and still get to do this, so it's good. Life is good.
Well, let's stay on the baseball topic here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your baseball story growing up and where you played and how long you played?
Yeah, okay. So, I played minor ball, actually, when growing up. I played all growing, I think, until I was 16, and then I kind of got out of things, got into being a musician, as you would in the 90s, I guess. But, yeah, so got back into baseball around when I was 27. And yeah, I started playing in men's league up here and a lot of slow pitch. Then kind of drifted out of baseball, stuck with slow pitch, played a lot of years of competitive slow pitch up here. Like I was saying, the Super Series slow pitch up here is pretty competitive. It's good baseball. It's good slow pitch softball. And then when I turned 31, I got back into baseball, played some senior ball up here in Canada, and yeah, I've been doing it since, so still going.
Now, can you talk about the culture of baseball where you're from? Is it Ontario? Is that where you're from?
Yeah, Ontario, Canada, yeah.
Can you just talk about the culture a little bit growing up? How is, Ontario, how big of a baseball town is that in terms of Little League growing up and playing in high school and things like that? Can you talk about that?
Right. When I was growing up, it was big to us, baseball, but it was very, very short seasons. Like when I was playing Little League, there was no indoor facilities. There was no winter baseball. There was nothing. It was just May to September. You might see October, and that was it. You were done. There was no winter workouts or anything. So it was hard to stick with it growing up because you know how teenagers are. You just kind of wanted to hang out. And if you lose interest over the winter, then you weren't getting back into it to the summer. Whereas now there's a ton of indoor baseball facilities up here. So kids can play all year round or at least work out, right? So the culture of it has completely changed. It's still different than the U.S. because the U.S., I mean, a lot of those kids can play year round outdoors, especially in the South, I guess. But yeah, up here it's getting bigger. There's a lot more elite players, a lot more elite teams. So it's good for Canada baseball, and yeah, good for the kids growing up, and they get to stick with it right all year round. So wintertime they can work out, they can play, and practice, and just work on the mechanics and stuff like that. So it's really good.
Yeah, I can imagine with hockey being so popular in Canada, and being able to play that all year long if you wanted to. I'm sure that's probably always pulling away from the travel ball leagues for Canadian Little League baseball and even high school, probably pulling away from some of those teams, all those good players, because they're probably playing hockey and working on their game.
For sure, yeah, and like even when the baseball season starts to get ramped up, kids are still playing hockey, so they drift off baseball for the first little while, finish up hockey, and then they're right into baseball, and then vice versa on the other end, whereas baseball's still in, they'll drift off hockey, and then get right back into hockey once the baseball's over. So I guess they're both. Hockey's very, very popular up here for kids, but baseball's getting it's every year it's more and more. So it's really, really good to see all these even 8U guys right up to the senior guys, 18U guys. It's really, really good. So.
Now, Trevor, who were some of the players you liked growing up as a kid? I mean, obviously, I guess you have the Blue Jays up there. You maybe had the Expos for a while. Who were some of the players that you looked up to that you kind of emulated that you wanted to be like growing up?
Well, I really was a huge Ken Griffey fan, Ken Griffey Jr. And, watching the Jays, I got to witness, both World Series when I was 12 and 13. So, you had the Roberto Alomar and the Joe Carter, all those guys, Jack Moore, all the pitchers, everybody that basically played for the Blue Jays those 2 years were people that everybody around here looked up to. So it was really, really good. That's basically it. There was no real standout guys. Ken Griffey, I would say, was my standout guy, just because, one, he was a great player. Two, Ken Griffey Jr. baseball from the video game was pretty awesome.
Yes.
Too, so.
That and the Big Hurt
right?
Yeah, yep, absolutely.
I'll say that in Big Hurt baseball. Where was that for us?
Yep, definitely.
Yeah.
Now, can you tell us the story? How did you get into making bats? How did that all come about? Is this something you had always done? Something you were taught a trade when you were a kid, or how did this all come about?
No, not even a little bit. So like I said, when I was 31, I got back into baseball. Not that I started making bats back then, but I started playing more and more. And one summer, one season, I broke a few bats. I think I broke 2 bats, and I was just like, I'm gonna buy a lathe and try and make my own just to see what happens, right? So I bought a garage sale lathe, I guess, and went and found a pretty junky piece of wood and turned the bat. And it seemed to be okay. It's not now, but at the time I thought it was a really good job. Mm-hmm. I still have it, but going back to it and looking at it now, it's like, wow, this thing is a piece of junk. So yeah, that's what kicked it off. I just broke bats and I thought I'd try and do my own thing, and it just turned into what it is now over the last couple of years. So it was really bizarre how, I don't know, I guess every bat maker probably has a similar story, but that's my story. Is I just broke bats and thought I'd try and wing it myself.
Now, where did the name ABO Baseball come from? How did that come about?
So I'm named after my kids. So I have 2 kids, a boy and a girl, Brandon and Audrey. So Audrey, Brandon, and my last name is Oakes, so that's where that comes from.
Nice.
That's a cool way to tie it together.
Yeah, I'm still I want to still push on this one question here, because I'm just like, I think it's so funny. Like, you're like, I broke some bats, so I decided to get a lathe and try to make my own. I'm just curious, like, did you see someone else? Like, did you look up how to do it, or like, could you just kind of just wing it?
No, I just honestly, I just winged it. It wasn't until I started making a couple, and then my buddies wanted some, so I made them some, and then I started looking into the actual models, and you do research on wood and stuff like that, and it took a really long time to get settled on where we are now. It literally took a year and a half to find the wood we are using now, the technique I'm using. But yeah, it was probably months after I started where I started looking into the different terms and the different models, started researching on it, because I didn't take it serious. I was just like, yeah, whatever, man. I'll just make some bats and, here you go, guys. Let's, try and swing these, or let's go hit with these. And then after I did the research, I thought, well, maybe this could be something, right? So I turned it into a little hobby business, and now it's just my living. So it's pretty fun.
Now take us through how it starts for the customer out there who's looking to get a bat. They saw a post online, they liked what they saw. Walk us through the start to finish of a customer getting a bat. Where do they start? And what do they get to pick and choose, and where does it end up at?
Okay, so one thing that we do that nobody else does as a bat maker, we allow players to come into a facility and custom make a bat on the spot. So I think it's honestly every weekend I have a player. So the player will come in, and we sit down in my office and we go over what turn model, what design, what we basically break the whole bat down. What knob flare, what model, do you want cupping, do you not? What colors do you want the bat on? Do you want engraving? Basically the whole bat design. And then the player gets to go in the wood room and the humidor and pick out their piece of wood that they want made out of. So we only use pro maple and pro birch. So the player gets to go in the room, pick out whatever billet they want, and then we take it over to the lathe room, and I'll have, as the player standing there, I make the bat by hand on my lathe, and as I in the middle of making it, I'll call them over and say, so how's the handle on this? Do you like the barrel? Or I'll take a little, if they're not happy with the handle, I'll take a little bit more off, and it's a true custom experience for the player and a true custom bat. So from that point, we'll finish the bat, take it off, see how it feels for the player. And I have a little batting cage set up there too. So as they're waiting, they can, grab a couple of bats that are standing there and take some hits or hacks or whatever they want to do. And then once the bat's done, we'll go over the color scheme and basically paint it, clear coat it. And obviously there's a little wait time there, or if they're local guys, they'll pick it up the next day, or I'll ship it out to whoever. Or if it's just, if they feel like going for lunch or whatever, they can come back in an hour and pick the bat up. We're all finished. Right? So it's something that nobody else offers, and I think it's really, really personal to the player to see their bat being made. It's like going to get a haircut, right? You tell them what you want, you get it done, you leave with a nice fresh cut. So it's pretty cool, and a lot of players really, really enjoy it, coming in and just getting their very own bat made right before their eyes. So it's pretty awesome.
All right, I'm curious, how soon, I know you gave a couple of scenarios there, if someone was there with you, from start to finish, if there were no distractions, how fast can you turn out a bat from start to finish?
By hand. So the other day, I made 3 bats, painted and clear coated in 45 minutes. So it's if somebody, it depends on the model, but if somebody's just like, yeah, I need 3, 32-inch two 271 model bats, just black barrel. That's it. It takes especially these ones were birch, and birch cuts a little bit easier than maple to me. So it's a lot quicker to make a birch bat than it is a maple bat. But yeah, it was like 45 minutes. I was spinning these things, and I sand them, paint them, and clear coat them right away. Sticker them, bag them, and ship them. So it was pretty good.
Now, for the average person out there who may not know a whole lot, who just has a kid out there who wants a bat, or they walk into their local sporting goods store. Talk about the different. You talk about what, depending on the model. Talk about the models that you do have that people can people can pick from, like end loaded, balanced, flared knob, traditional knob, like all those types of things. Like, can you just explain what you actually offer?
Yeah, so we offer the full, I like to call basic models, which is like the 243, the 271, the 110, and the I-13. So from those, if a player wants to customize those terms, we can do that. But that's what we offer. And then if they want it balanced or end loaded, we can also customize that into each one of those turns, like leave a little bit more in the middle if they want it balanced, take a little more off the end if they do, or leave, make it a little more end heavy, whatever the player wants. And then also with the flared knobs, we offer like small, medium, or large, basically large being like a bell handle, and then small just being a traditional baseball handle. Yeah, that's basically it. And then, like just today, I had a phone call from a player, brand new into wood, doesn't know much about anything with a wood bat. He's coming from metal bats. So, we had to break it down what they wanted over the phone. And, you get the size of the kid, the weight, how strong is he, what kind of swing is he, and you can break them down to a model that he's going to want. So it's pretty good, like, that they have those options. And then even from them models, we can tweak to whatever the player wants and go from there. I've also had, like just today, I had a replicated. Some players will give me a bat to replicate, so I'll just replicate that by hand and eye measurement. And then, they'll just have an ABO bat instead of something else. So it's pretty good that way too. It's whatever they want. But that's what we offer online is those 3 models for now. We'll get more up there. Like we do have a custom ZB11, we call it. One of our sponsor players, Daniel Barrett, plays down south pro ball. He created this model. It's kind of like a 243 and a 271 mixed up, so we call it the DB11. And then also there's a Raised in Baseball. Tanner, he drew up a bat model that he wanted made, and I made it for him. And we call that the TC42, and we're trying to get that on our line too, like on our website. Just to offer the kids too. I was actually just talking to them today. He's still swinging the original one I made him.
Wow.
That thing's got at least 15,000 hits on it. It's starting to crack on the end, but it's lasted so many hits. All that kid does is hit. So.
That kid's a beast. He's gonna be so good.
Oh yeah, he will be for sure. He is, and he will be for sure. They're just good people too.
Now, just
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say now for the person out there, you were talking about the couple different models. Like, if like Dan, he's 6'2", 205 pounds. I mean, I'm 5'8", 185 pounds. Obviously he's kind of more of the power guy. What kind of bat would you recommend for him? And what kind of bat would you recommend for the smaller contact guy?
The power guy is definitely a 243. So you'll see a lot of that in the bigs, right? So it's just a bigger, longer barrel, a shorter taper, more of a sweet spot just to clobber the baseballs. Whereas a contact hitter would be like a 271. That's like honestly for me, the 271 is my most common made bat. That's what most people want, just because I'm not dealing with a ton of sluggers. I'm dealing with more of the contact hitters. So, I would suggest those 2 models for those guys.
Now, I'm curious. I know you could turn 3 bats in 45 minutes. This all started out as, like you said, a hobby. Now that you have this down to a science and you got a business going here, how many bats do you say you make in a year?
I think last year we did, last year was my year two, and I think we did just over 2,500 bats.
Nice.
So, yeah, it was quite a bit. And the first year was just over 1,000. So this year, I don't know, I don't even know how many I've made this far. Just today, I did 28 today. So I got out of there a bit early too. So I could have probably stayed a bit longer, but wanted to come enjoy the nice weather today. So that would be. But yeah, it when I first started, literally was an hour and a half per bat. It took forever because it was so much measuring and just getting used to it. But it's like anything you do over and over again, you just get good at it. And if you have an eye, I think anybody could do it. They just don't. So
right.
I'm not encouraging them to do it, but I'm a business guy. But it's just practice, just like anything in the world. Practice. Gets you quick at it.
And is your operation just a one-man operation right now, or how many people do you have working with you?
Yeah, so it's just me on the production side. I do have a partner, but he's more of the back-end business guy. So, sorry. So I take the orders, I make the bats, I paint them, I clear coat them, I sticker them, I bag them, I ship them. We have swag clothing, most of that outside the hats and the new shirts that we just released. I will make them too. But yeah, it's pretty much just a one man show outside or just for the production side of things. I do have a guy coming in. Actually, he's coming tomorrow or Wednesday. I don't even know what today is. Wednesday he's coming, so he's gonna just start practicing the painting and clear coating of bats. So that'll be good to get somebody to help out and take some load off myself. So that'll be good.
Now walk me through it. You're in the shop. Do you got headphones on? You jamming to some music, or you have a podcast playing? How's your setup? I mean, how does it work for you? What gets you in the zone? What gets you in the groove?
Basically, I get in there in the morning and I grab. I always schedule my orders for the day. So today I did a few more than not should have, but a few more than I had to, I guess. But yeah, so let's say I'm, tomorrow I'm going to go in there in the morning. I got 20 bats to make. So I will usually Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are my production days. And then Thursday, Friday will be my paint, clear coat, engraving. And then, Friday afternoon or so, I'll get them shipped out. But, so yeah, that's exactly it. I'll grab those 20 orders or whatever, and I'll just go and I'll grab all the wood. I go out to the lathe room, and if they're just basic models, I have a CNC machine that can just rip off bats, or most of them I just make by hand just because whatever. I'll have both going at the same time, and then I just put in a podcast and just go at it. It's like my little happy place. Nobody bugs me, and I just drift off and make baseball bats. It's pretty good. I'll listen to music or mostly podcasts, but the odd time I'll put music on. Just music gets a little, old when it's over and over again.
Yeah, definitely.
If I like to hear, a good podcast or something, it's much better. So.
Right on. Now, what out of the maple and the birch, if you were to make yourself a bat, what bat would you make? What design? What model? And what wood would you use?
Yeah, so this just changed recently for me. So I was a huge lover of maple. I just love the sound of it. I like the feel of it. I loved everything about it. And then about a month ago, we went out hitting. We were on hit tracks. We were indoors. And then I made myself a 33-inch 271 model birch bat. I said, well, let's just give this a go, whatever. And I started swinging this thing, and I'm in love with it. So now, I don't know. I think I might be a birch guy now. We'll see. And we have a tournament in a couple weeks, so I'm going to see how that goes. But yeah, I was really a big fan of the birch after that weekend, and have been swinging it since. So it's been good.
Now, explain to our listeners a little bit just what the difference between a maple bat and a birch bat is. It the grain? I mean, obviously it's the type of wood, but what are some of the differences between the two?
Well, they're very similar. That's kind of why it's yellow birch is in the game now. Yellow birch is a little bit more porous. It's a little bit more open, but very similar grain structure and very similar density. So on the hardness scale, they're very, very close. The only difference really is the lightness. Like birch, you can get really, really light, whereas maple, it's, you can get light, but the birch it's always much lighter. Like the billets come at a lighter weight, and it's just as strong. Like it's got good pop, and I'm not sold on this, but I can see it happening. Whereas I've been told the more you hit a birch bat, the harder it gets, the more pop it gets. So I can see, because the actual bat is getting kind of like crushed in where it would get harder, and all the cells are closing up. So I could see that, but I don't know if it's true or not. I haven't done any research on it, so it's just was told to me by a couple guys. So I don't know. I guess we'll see once I start hitting this a little bit more, or get time to read into it a little bit. But yeah,
now
that's basically just the weight difference is, basically the only thing.
Now I'm been wanting to ask this for a couple questions here. What are the colors you offer on your custom bats?
Online, it's just a basic. I think there's 10 colors, so orange, yellow, black. But realistically, like if it's any color you want, we'll get it on there. Just leave a note, online order. Just leave a little note. I want this color, and we'll just make it happen. That's another thing is I like the artsy kind of crafty bats. I like doing them. Some of them are like, it's a little bit more than I can pull off, but I tend to get lucky with them. So I do, like I just did some kid wanted a galaxy bat. So he wanted like the Milky Way and everything in there. And I was just like, whoa, okay, this is over my head, but let's give her a go. And it turned out actually really good. So I thought I'd be, try and do the little airbrushing part. And it turned out actually very, very good. So I don't know if it's luck or what, but yeah, just stuff like that. Like, so the basic colors online, there's 10 different colors. I mean, I can flame them, I can ring burn them. And then also on top of that, if you want polka dots on a bat, I'll do that for you. If you want stars, I'll do that. If you want, camouflage, I'll do whatever the players want.
Nice.
So that's, yeah.
Well, speaking of the players, who's currently using the bats, and what kind of feedback are you getting? I know you had said there's some guy playing some pro ball using your bat right now. Mm-hmm. What kind of players are using that, and what kind of feedback are you getting?
Yeah, so I have a few guys in the minor leagues, and it's been nothing but good. There's one guy, he's in Mexico right now playing for the AAA Bravos. He loves these birch bats down there. And then I have a guy playing the Dodger system, and he's got a maple, what did he get? An ash and a birch, I think. But he claims that they're the best bats he's ever felt. So that's good news to me. And then, a couple other guys playing like the United Shores league up here. I think it's in Michigan he's playing out of. He just got 5 new maples and he's loving them. So there's a lot of good feedback. It was a struggle to get the good wood. So we were getting wood that was just told it was good wood. Yeah, this is like, this is what was sold to baseball bat guys before, use it. And it would either be heavy or, I don't know, just it wasn't where I wanted it to be. There was nothing wrong with it. It's just I wanted it to stand out, I guess. So me and my partner, we drove around basically, all of Ontario looking, because there's a lot of sawmills and stuff like that. And we actually found a new wood supply that we only deal with now. And, since we switched to these guys, it's been nothing but good. Like, it's really helped out our, reputation for being such a poppy bat. So the Maples, it's got quite the crack to it now. So it's really, really good. We're super happy with this company. So we'll never go elsewhere. We'll always buy their wood. We just had more ordered, and we love it. Couldn't be happier.
Now I got to ask, because the coach in me is a sucker for a good fungo. I was looking. I saw you guys, I guess, offer some fungos. What type of fung? I mean, everybody has like different styles, different, feel. Some like a really long one, some like short ones. What do you offer for the coaches out there who are looking for a good fungo bat?
So we do offer custom fungos, and that's basically whatever the coach would want, whatever color. And we will make it any length. I've done some that are kind of like a baseball, like a 271 model baseball bat look. And then I've done the long, skinny handle, kind of like short, little flared out barrels. It's basically whatever the coach wants, I'll just do and make whatever they want. Like if they want a 32 inch, I'll make it a 32. If they want a 36 inch, I'll make it 36. It's when it comes to that, it's whatever they kind of give to me, and I feed off that, right? So
sweet.
Now
I want to ask, just because I know a lot of other places out there do it, or some offer, some don't. If you have any engraving that you offer, or any sort of warranty, because I think depending on where you go or what you got, some people always would like to know about that as well.
Yeah, so we can engrave whatever you want on the bat, and that just is a small like $10 upcharge to any order, and also the warranty on the wood, like we do warrant our wood. Because we deal with a lot of younger players, so I have to be very, very selective on, the bats that there hasn't, and knock on wood, there hasn't really been any returns or warranty issues since we switched over with this new wood company, so we're really happy with that. But we do want the wood, like I said, if it's in 30 days and, the bat breaks, send it back to us. We'll have to check it out. Like we'll be able to tell where and what happened to the bat, and if it's the wood or whatever. And if it is, we'll just replace the bat and send off a new one.
Nice. Now, what are some of your goals as a company for ABO Baseball for the next 3 to 5 years?
Well, the goal of this year is I want to, by fall, start up my own baseball facility in the town that we're in. We're in Tillsonburg, Ontario. So there's nothing really inside of an hour for kids to do indoor baseball. They literally have to drive like an hour to get anywhere. So baseball is getting bigger around there. There's a lot of kids that do play baseball, and there's a lot of interest in having an indoor facility. So by October, I really want to have that set up and going. It's in kind of the works right now of a building and stuff like that. And like I said, we already have one cage, so it's just basically adding turf and more cages and maybe a little play field. And then within that facility, I also want the players to be able to see me actually producing bats. So it'll be kind of a cool experience, to have a plexiglass little window there so they can see bats being made, kind of like walking into Krispy Kreme donuts and seeing the donuts made, and you buy, a dozen or whatever. Something simple like that. But that's goal number one. I'm working with one of our sponsored players up here. He plays in the IBL, Inter-County Baseball League. His name is Cleveland Brownlee. He's a good heavy hitter. He's basically the face of London baseball. So me and him are kind of talking about starting up like kind of like a foundation, or not maybe starting up, but me helping him and London baseball with a foundation to help out kids that are like less fortunate on equipment and stuff like that, right? So that's step 2, and that will probably happen before the facility. Like that, I think the foundation part will be very, very soon, just to help out with these kids. And then, obviously, step 3 is to get into the MLB and get approval process going with that. And we were, beginning of this year, we were really going to push for next year, but I think my goal from the get-go was year 5. So I think we're going to hold back and stick for year 5 just to, kind of get some more revenue up there, because it is expensive. It's super expensive to get approval. So we're not worried about getting approved. I know we can do it, and I know our wood will pass. I just want to make sure that all our ducks in a row, and we're not biting off more than we can chew, right? So that's our goal. Our 3 main goals, actually, for the next 2 years. We'll see where we get.
Those are some really good goals, and I liked with the facility that you have there, because a good way, besides them seeing you make the bat, obviously there will be no shortage of baseball bats that you could provide for people to use to practice there. So you'd be able to get the bats in the hands of the consumer, and they'll fall in love with them. So that's a really, really cool idea.
Yeah, that's always been my plan since day one. Was once we started the business, and once I got, okay, well, this is going to be something. I truly feel that like ABO bats will be the next big bat out of Canada. That was always my goal, to have a facility for kids to come in and players to come in and practice, and then bats are being made right in house. So you want a bat, come over and I'll spin you one up. No big deal. It's kind of a cool little idea.
Now, Trevor, as we wind down the interview here, were there any topics or anything about, the bat or the business or anything that we didn't bring up that you'd like to talk about?
I don't think so. Just like our website's fairly new. We're actually going to redo it again just because we're not 100% happy with it. So there's going to be some changes going on there. That's about it. Just plugging away and trying to get the name out there. That's our number one goal for this year, was to just brand awareness, aside from the 3 main goals, but brand awareness, and just to get the name out there and market properly, and help people know what ABO is all about. And it's doing stuff like this that helps. So we appreciate it big time, being able to come on.
Yeah, man, definitely. And I'm curious about your answer to this one, because you had mentioned that you're a musician, and that kind of drew you away from the baseball for a little while, and then you revisited baseball again. If you could tell your teenage self anything, if you could go back in time and tell your teenage self anything, what would it be?
Well, I would honestly say, don't go play drums. Find somehow to work out in baseball. Like I truly wish I was stuck with baseball and went to play college ball and stuff like that, at least, just because now, like what I see now and the kids, what their availability is, I wish I could go back and say, just stick with it, just like throw a ball around in the winter time and just stay with it. So that's probably one thing I would say. Don't go drumming, more baseball.
That's awesome. And you broke Dan's heart, because Dan's a drummer by nature at first.
Yeah.
I mean, so,
Nice.
Yeah, no.
Nice.
So it's fun. That's funny though, because it's Dan kind of veers in and out of musician, athlete, podcaster, back to musician. It all kind of flows.
Yeah.
Depending on the day of the week.
Actually, you know what? I'm curious. Since you're around the same age, what's your favorite band from the '90s?
Pearl Jam.
Okay, there we go. There we go. Can't go wrong with that one.
Nah, I was thinking Stone Temple Pilots is what I had in my head for some reason. I don't know.
They're good too.
No, Trevor, if you had anybody you had in mind that was whether like a coach or a player or anybody else who's in the baseball world that you think has a good story, who do you think the Going Yard podcast? Who would you recommend for us to reach out to have on as another guest down the road?
I would say John Madden, if you haven't already. John Madden from ABO Baseball.
Yeah, we talked to him. He was one of our first episodes, actually. It was really cool to talk to him. Yeah.
A lot of energy.
Yeah, tons of energy.
Yeah, that
Loved
guy
him.
was awesome. Like he's he's pretty cool to chat with. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe like up here, there's like a couple facilities, but I don't know if they would. Yeah, I don't know. Like I can kind of pass on some numbers, but there's one place up in London here, or sorry, Scarborough, that they work with a lot with elite players and like pro guys, and we just partnered up. It's a baseball development group in Toronto or Scarborough area, and they were all, not saying all, but they were mostly pitching aspects of the game, and now they're getting into hitting. So we kind of partnered up with ABO Baseball and BDG, and yeah, they might be a good one because they have a lot of interesting stuff on the go, and they have a lot of interesting plans coming.
Awesome.
So they might be a really, really good one to actually talk to. I believe the one guy's a doctor and the other guy's an accountant, but they're both ball players and super smart with the game and super smart with mechanics.
That would be great.
They basically take pictures and turn them around to throw like mega heat, and same with batting and all that jazz, right? So, I can, if you look them up, it's that baseball development group on Instagram, or just I can pass on their info off the show here.
Awesome, man. Sounds awesome. We appreciate that.
Where can our listeners find more about you, Trevor, and about the company and all, like your website, and Instagram, Facebook, wherever you're at on social media? Let people know where they can get more information about the products you're producing. Yeah, so on Facebook, it's just ABO Baseball. Instagram is ABO_baseball. Instagram's probably the better one to see most of the custom bats I do, because I do a lot of like artsy bats outside of the basic models. And then our website is abobaseball.com. That basically you can order anything, and if you don't see something you like, feel free to call or email, and I'll usually get back to you within a couple hours, and we can work out whatever you want to order. Or even if you just have a simple question about baseball bats, feel free to get in touch. So either one of those avenues. Even Instagram, I get a lot of messages, so that works too.
Awesome. Awesome, Trevor. Well, we got one more question for you, and I picked a good product to kind of match up with your bat here. It's actually called the Swing Tracker. This question is brought to you by the Swing Tracker by Diamond Kinetics. The Swing Tracker is the most precise and complete swing analysis and development tool available today. Whether you're a player, parent, or a coach, you will find a wide range of resources to help you achieve your goals. Swing Tracker can be found at diamondkinetics.com, and you enter the promo code GYP10 for 10% off. So, Trevor, the question is, if you had one at bat in the major leagues, what song would you choose as your walk-up song?
Well, the one tune that does get me fired up, and because it re-fired me up when the movie came out the day, I have to say Take Me to the Top by Motley Crue for sure.
Nice.
It's something that gets me going. But even in the morning, you get up, throw that song on, I don't care who you are, it'll get you going.
Awesome.
So that would probably be it.
Awesome, man. Well, we really appreciate you coming on, telling your story, and talking about your bats and your product. And we wish you nothing but the best of luck, and hope to meet up with you sometime soon, check out your bats, and get a couple swings in.
Yeah, for sure, man. Thanks a lot for having me on the Going Yard podcast. It's been great.
Yeah, Trevor, appreciate you taking time to do this, and we look forward to talking to you again down the road, hopefully, and watching you grow and succeed, and hopefully getting those bats to the major leagues as soon as you can.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
All right, take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
See you. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed that interview with Trevor. I love. We talked to a couple of baseball bat guys already. I love their story. It's always a little bit different, and it's weird how this one came all about. So I thought it was a fun story.
Yeah. We're kind of in our own little entrepreneur world here now with the podcast, and I love seeing somebody who has just a small little dream. Maybe it's not even a dream. They don't realize it until they fall in love with what they're doing, and watch something grow and mature in front of your eyes, basically. You know what I mean? And hard work and dedication pays off in the long run. So, check his stuff out. It's incredible, the designs and the looks he talked about that you see on his social media. So make sure you check them out.
Yeah, and by the time this episode is out, we will actually probably have a promo code for this bat as well. So we will keep you updated on that. It'll probably be in the show notes if we end up getting that taken care of before this comes out.
And it'll be GYP10, everybody.
It'll
you
be
just know
GYP10.
GYP10. Start using that at your grocery store soon, I think.
So you can get 10% off of a custom bat. Why not? But that's it. So you can find us on all things social media at Going Yard Podcast, on Twitter at GY Podcast. And always you can go to our Patreon page if you like what you're hearing every single week and would like to support the podcast to help keep our ship a-rolling. You can go to patreon.com/goingyardpodcast. Any help would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, make sure you check out our website, goingyardpodcast.com. You can find all of those links that Dan just talked about on there. And you can also download and subscribe to us on iTunes, SoundCloud, Podbean, and Google Play on there as well. Make sure you subscribe. That way every Friday and every Tuesday you get the new episodes automatically downloaded. Leave us a 5-star review if you could so we can climb those podcast rankings.
All right, so that's a wrap for this episode of the Going Yard Podcast. So for Trevor Oakes, ABO Baseball, and all of us here at the Going Yard Podcast, I'm Dan.
And I'm Tyler. See ya.
Later.